Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting, riveting, and amazing Propagandacast from your host, Imperial Dane, the one, the only master propaganda hero, psych defender of the fatherland, off here to 2v2 on Elst Outskirts. And north it is Flappy and Pineapple the Fruit Dude fighting for the German army, Deutschland. Here with the 3rd Panzer Division with joint operations, encirclement and spearhead, Overwatch, Elite Armour, and Scavenge. In the south, it is Stocky and Duffmann. Oh, yeah. Fighting for the Red Army, the Soviet Union, Commander Stalin. Here with the 10th Guards Tank Corps with Guard Motor, featuring T-35s, Hay Mortars, Guards Rifle Infantry, Vehicle Crew Repair Training, and Marked Vehicle. Duffmann here with Soviet Combined Arms Army, Armored Assault Tactics, and the Mechanized Support. And as always, a special hearty thanks to my patron supporters, my wonderful company here is there. Other people can join the ranks and support the Propagandacaster in this noble endeavor to enlighten the world about the glory of companies too by, pledging on Patreon themselves or donating via PayPal. Links in the description. And if you're considering pre-ordering companies, consider doing so via the link in the comments using the code COH2, in which case I'll get a part of the sale there. And find just comment, like, share, subscribe. So, double penalty of Duffmann goes for the Strafbad opening. Plenty of consequence for Stocky. Full screen DSC for Pineapple, and the Grenadier MD42 for Flappy up north here. First shots fired here between Duffmann and Flappy. The engineers are quickly sent packing towards safer and less German-infested territories. In the south, Stocky advances here steadily as Pineapple is also going for a very casual approach here. So otherwise, besides those few shots here, not much else going on there. Duffmann, of course, waiting to really, before going on full offensive until he gets his penal troops in there, since obviously single engineer squad is not going to be able to assail Festung Europa here. Sturmpioneer with the conscripts as Stocky quickly falls back again. That kind of engagement there could work out from a better range, and that's what he's pulling back to. But ultimately, the question is, does he really want to be stuck up in a meat grinder there versus Pineapple? I mean, Pineapple the Fruit Dude, not an actual pineapple. Comrades, is the strange fruit? Fight! It is a symbol of capitalism and imperialist oppression. Really? Yes. Truck on the way there for Pineapple. Could be Elite Armour, then a fast 2-1 here from him in the German army. Up north here, Flappy steadily advances for Deutschland. And going for more Grenadiers here. The southeast, Stocky is slightly waiting here, perhaps Pineapple to make the first move, or perhaps to figure a way out here. Hard to say here. Definitely seems to be some grinding and the mind level there between the two. Up north, the Duffmann getting ready for a push here. The Strafbad catching the pioneers here. Scout cover Duffmann looking for a motorized approach here to crack open the northern front line here, being held by Flappy and the 5th Panzer Grenadier Company. Penals they need to fall back here soon though, as Flappy is converging on them rapidly. Pins with MD42 in the south here. Looks like things on swing here. Looks like Stocky drew the attention first. Now though, Pineapple is pouring all his money here into the meat grinder against Stocky here. Heavy fire in the Sturmpioneer are being focused on. We got Blanhand Gunner they unleashed. Battle of headquarters up for Pineapple. No say 2-1 here. No motorization from him. Meanwhile, those Stocky's men are being slightly left to their own devices here by Stocky, interestingly enough. Looks like it's pulling back to briefly reinforcing engineers, but it has come at a pretty high price here for Stocky. This engineer squad that comes got ripped apart, and the other squad here close being steadily bled out here, honestly. May not work out here, hard to say that setting in though. Stocky does overcome Pineapple through the power of attrition. Of course, who cares about casualty rates? In the north here, though, we got the Scout car going straight for the Grenadiers here. Friedrich there drops dead as the 30 cal mounter on the rear there guns him down. We got Duffmann here with Mechanized Support with anti-tank and ambush tactics. More Guards Rifle Infantry, Marked Vehicle as well there. Strafing runs and the ISU 152 heavy assault gun. Grenadiers push back here as Duffmann Strafbad then moves towards the glory of the Red Army. Grenadiers also being sent packing. Over here in the west, engineers busy laying down mines. Stocky, of course, preparing for the next Germanic wave of attackers, ready to blow their legs apart. And preferably other parts of their body. More engineers here for Duffmann. 2-2 there for Flappy. As for Pineapple, Could be Overwatch or Scavenger. I mean, he's got 2 commanders with Jaegers in them, so I mean, it is possible. In fact, he might be going for Scavenger because there's been this recent wave of Oberkommando players rushing up the Ostwind. So it's not impossible that Pineapple could be, in fact, scheming to do exactly that. Of course, now with Duffmann securing the northern fuel point here, denying it to the Germans, and Ostwind rush may, in fact, be off the table here for Pineapple. We'll have to see, though. Barbed wire here to deny the Germans cover, and, of course, mines to deny the Germans feet. Basically, the mines are sandbags in the center there. North, you can see that Duffmann keeps pushing against Flappy there, making it harder for Flappy to make progress. So, of course, he's looking to use the 2 to turn that around. And we got Pineapple here with the 251-17. Flareman goes off there. Knees pushed back. You can see here, those Stocky's front line is now a bit open. But it's also quite clear with the massive manpower hump and the fact he's close to 2 command points what Stocky's thinking. Guardsman, maybe even a heavy mortar, plus a bit of tech. And there you go. You can go for the Guardsman right away. And you could almost follow up with the heavy mortar as well there. Up north of the from Flappy continues now as Duffmann is well dug in here. A lot of natural heavy cover. It will make it tougher for Flappy to just make easy progress. But the armored car proves to be the tool he needs to break apart here Duffmann's defense. Like a poorly made door by a very drunk carpenter. Constance the Fulton by the southern field point there. Duffmann with the first guard towards Stocky. Going straight for the tank. Could be pretend command. Looks like he's going to rush out the T-70. Was expecting the guardsmen. So that was a bit of a surprise there. But, I mean, obviously he was that close to the T-70 because they got a good resource lead there. Obviously makes sense to go for that one first. Oh, goes for the field gun now? I mean, obviously the flak half track there is a bit of a concern, obviously. So that makes sense. There was certainly a few twists there from Stocky. I did not expect. They want to... Oh dear, the Pioneers moved off here. They moved off. Probably gave him a repair order, I think. Or perhaps they just moved off for them. It's hard to say here. Either way, though, means Duffmann and Stocky gets more fuel. So this is actually kind of dangerous. Like, need to get that fuel point back. Schnell. Guardsman here inside the Scout car, forming up a motorized anti-tank patrol here to take on Flappy's armored car. Flappy going for the second armored car. Interesting choice. They get double armored cars from the Wehrmacht in the 2v2 meta game. It's definitely rare, particularly on a map like this where it's going to be difficult to like make use of 2-2-2s efficiently, because the pathing in Companies 2 is not exactly what we call spotless. It's, you know, sort of more Lovecraftian. Anyways, here's Southwest Pineapple holding up against a push from Stocky as he looks to, you know, dethrone here the fascist invader. He goes for the half, okay. Interesting choice here by Stocky. Quick to make some decisions then, alterations as planned there. Certainly the anti-aircraft tough tech is powerful, but I was definitely expecting the T-70 or something like that, but okay. Certainly has a lot of punch to, a lot of, you know, burst firepower, and again, crucially, he's also cheap, so he can also allow him to just move ahead and attack this. So there's definitely some considerations there, obviously, to be had. In fact, it is very likely that Stocky, with this move, has decided he wants to go for T-34s very fast here as the Germans, and the half-track is going to be an excellent tool towards that. Germans, meanwhile, struggling there to hold field for much longer. Here in the south flak half-track versus the anti-aircraft half-track, 450 cal, so this is a single 2cm flak gun, the Flak 38. Or Flak 30, actually, depending on the gun, but I think this one with the gun shield would be the Flak 38. One without the gun shield would be the Flak 30. Fun fact. Flappy there getting northern fuel point. Neither German player that is yet to commit to a commander. And there you go, flak after hit. There you go, a kid effort. Turns the tides here on Stocky's anti-aircraft half-tech, leaving nothing but a smoldering hulk of American steel and broken Soviet dreams. I was gonna sell it for parts after the war. Blood. Assault rifles on the way there, flank up behind the Max machine gun here. Flappy and Pumpkin to be a commander. At this point, I mean, I'd personally love to see Encirclement, as I think it's a very good commander, but certainly if you're in a bit of an awkward position, it can be very good. Spearhead, of course, is a classic. Joint Operations is one of those commanders that I'm never a huge fan of. It feels a bit too awkward, and certainly one of those not very well-defined commanders. Like, what does Joint Operations mean, and what does that have to do with a howitzer and an anti-tank gun? It definitely feels like, you know, one of those well, stir-fry options in a sense here. And he's fully pushed back with the conscripts. In the southwest, he fully flanking up behind the conscripts there under Stocky's command. Field gun there for Stocky. In response, of course, his anti-aircraft attack going up in flames. In the center there, Pim swinging about MD42, the Demon Unisi up north here, though Flappy's being pushed back as Duffmann strikes again for the Red Army. Mortar fire here as Flappy has very wisely brought in a mortar. 2 thumbs up. Again, I feel like mortars are an excellent element here in companies too, and can have a tendency of getting overlooked, but definitely shouldn't be overlooked. So very good move, I think, there by Flappy. Neither Serp players commit to a mortar, and Pineapple can't go for a mortar, of course. He can't go for the light infantry gun. But there you go, big flank here from Duffmann. A full 3 punitive squads here, using the rest of this force as bait here. Very sharp player, I think, there by Duffmann. Thumbs up to that. Machine gun sitting up here. Mortar still firing mortar bombs into the mountain troops of Duffmann. And there you go. Punitives routed. Grenades here through the windows. Scout car falling back here. A fanatical defense here from Flappy against Duffmann. And he held. In the south here, they're pushing for the southern field point where Stocky is, trying to keep Pineapple at arm's length. Mechanized Armour company for the Duffmann, who has, by the way, completely skipped any light vehicles, of course relying on his mighty M3A1 scout car, which was primarily used by the Soviet Rasvetki, which was the Soviet scout formations. It were used alongside a lot of other, shall I say, Western Allied equipment, like universal carriers, Valentine tanks, Harley-Davidson pikes, by the way, which would be towing mortars. A few fun facts there. Black being rushed here as another assault from on the field point there from Pineapple falls a bit apart. Manpower floated. Flak half attack does go down there. Makes you wonder what he's planning. I'm guessing perhaps a Schwerpanzerkorps here into then Obersoldaten. I mean, certainly bringing in a lot of Obersoldaten right now versus Stocky could prove to be a rather awkward event here for Stocky to hold up against, because he's primarily got a lot of conscripts. Of course, he does hold a fair chunk of Maxims, but a light infantry gun to deploy some smoke could make it much harder for the Maxim to, you know, work successfully against the German infantry. That's it, the Schwerpanzerkorps is exposed. He's going to go for the flamethrowers here. He might be better off trying to lay off a demo chat and destroy it with the flamethrower, honestly. Carp point there could be hit by the full with hit a mine, perhaps trying to figure out if there's like another mine there. Who knows? Either way, the engineer's going to get mowed down by the full grenadiers. Up north here, Flappy continues to fight against Duffmann. A lot of manpower float for Pineapple. Honestly, he should go for the light infantry gun and then some Obersoldaten. Oh well. Oh well. There we go. Authorization on the way, but she also go for Obersoldaten. Flappy there. No tech. No commander. Kind of commandant. Fuel pump there getting hit by Duffmann. Very consistent, efficient plays there. Again, realize it's probably better just float around. Flappy around just tank in when they hit the fuel pump consistently. Thumbs up there to Duffmann. A very smart Duff move. That said, he managed to get his armored car painted into a corner by the 2-2 here. And Flappy strikes for Deutschland and knocks out the M3A1. A good kill him. Couldn't see the Guardsman wiped out. That's going to be quite painful there for Duffmann, though, of course. I think is something he's going to be able to compensate for by getting out a T-34 and 6 and applying some serious hurt there to Flappy and Pineapple. Schwerpanzerkorps there with Obersoldaten, and we do also get the line gun there, the Leichte Infanteriegeschütz 18. With Stelius Warband on, though, can't be replaced by this heavy mortar they, you know, copy straight off the Soviets. As they kind of did the same job in a sense, but a bit more efficient in some regards. And was also, I imagine, easier to make. So, little fun fact there. Up north here, though, another push from Duffmann against Flappy here. The machine is setting up narrowly here, trying to halt there. Another Stalinist assault here from Duffmann's command. As he charges here with the 213th Motorized Rifle Brigade. In the south here, we got Duffmann with the first T-34 from 6. In the south here, Stocky going here for the Obersoldaten. Light machines on the way there for the Obersoldaten. Thumbs up. Should definitely consider more. Obersoldaten, he really, I think, wants to add in some serious elite infantry versus Stocky. Center being seized to the Duffmann. Still no commander though for Flappy or for Pineapple. And there you go, T-34 catching the grenadiers here, routing them with ease. Flappy does have 2, in fact. He's going for, okay, he's not going for 3 Pak 40s. I think 3 Pak 40s would be fairly excessive and could also risk making him too easy a target to certain artillery elements. There goes on hurting up some of Stocky's forces there. Another guard squad for Duffmann to replace the one that did get murdered by the Germans. Unit wiped here. Got white in there, it seems. Watch out for the counters there. The Maxims are definitely a pain in the posterior there for Pineapple. Flanking around here is not a bad idea, though, forcing Stocky to reposition machine guns. Tech for Flappy, very good. Aircraft knocked out of the sky. Hacks firing at the T-34 from 6, doing some fancy damage to that one. In the south here, Stocky there catching some of the full guns here. Brandhand granate off from the Maxim, pushing it back. T-34 being hauled back for repairs. And we got the Pims moving forwards here for Duffmann. Fun fact about the T-34 Zone 6, but it is a tank that sort of, you know, had a lot of interesting elements to it. Also, I think there's a lot of myth around the T-34 Zone 6, and it's really been built up as this super tank, but it had some interesting design qualities. For example, it starts being cheap. In reality, it probably wasn't actually very cheap at all, in part because it made use of aluminium for its engines, which was, in particular back then, really, really expensive. They also, in fact, didn't have enough of it. They actually relied on the Americans to provide them with more aluminium for their engines. So that was a rather significant thing than the T-34 Zone 6, for example. Like, the Germans had considered aluminium engines themselves, but, again, they found it too expensive. The Germans. So, like, you know, already could sort of get a bit of a dent into the whole, you know, myth of the T-34 Zone 6 being this, you know, easy, cheap, mass-producible tank. I mean, sure, it could be mass-produced, but it wasn't done so cheaply. Anyways, what's with the consoles there? And we got the T-3045 out here for Stocky. All of the things happening in units conscripts. Up north here, we got the T-3046 there swinging around here into Flappy's north flank. Beautiful flank here by Duffmann. That was a really smart move. He again realizes that Flappy again is too reliant on sort of focusing around here, leaving his north side very open, and then use that to swing in the T-3446 there for a very deep flank. That is great stuff here. Clears out an enemy fortitude as well, though in this case, he can't quite follow up here. In this regard, Duffmann did not have the infantry reserves to actually exploit this fully, so less great there, but, you know, overall, good idea. Semi-decent execution. Like, the first half well executed, the other half less well executed. Like, a really neat movie with a neat premise, but just a really boring plot. In the south here, folks are being pushed back here by the Maxim. Got a strafing run there for Duffmann being unleashed here on the German army. Striking up north here, catching here Flappy in a situation we just can't flap away from, and he's forced to retreat here. He's also gone for joint operations with the officer, air reconnaissance, forward resupply station, which also includes repair bunkers, Pack 43s, and the howitzer. So, I mean, an officer wouldn't be a half bad idea here for Flappy, to be honest. But we'll have to see why he went for it exactly, otherwise. Yeah, now we can see that Duffmann is just taking advantage of the Chaos Course team, rolling him with the T-34. Plus, this time, he has infantry to support the attack here, so the situation with Flappy is definitely going a bit pear-shaped. As the Germans say, schnitzel-shaped. I probably don't, but anyways. T-34 moving forward here for Stocky. Got the Panther 4 ready here for Flappy and for Deutschland. Pineapple there with no Panther 4. Could be a Panther. He also hasn't gone for a commander here. Mortar wipe. Great kill there for Duffmann. Rough stuff here. And there you go, looking to wreck the mortar. Stocky is on the job. Thumbs up to that. Excellent work there. Oh, it really takes a lot to destroy an 80mm mortar tube. But, you know, it looks dramatic when using a tank for it. South, we're getting used to the Sturmpionier. More mines down here from Stocky. The stockiest. T-34 Zone 6 there with a damaged engine, significant issues, and probably the crew is suffering from, you know, carbon monoxide poisoning. T-34 flanking the Panther 4, going forward with his 85mm gun. Great shot in the Panther 4 straight through the side armor. And of course, marked vehicle means increased damage if it can hit. South, the upside there managed to overcome Stocky by the southern fuel point and may just claim it for the Reich, though Otto there may want to slightly pull his head in behind heavy cover further. Sadly though, for Pineapple, his great success is going to be undermined A by the field gun, but also a lack of support. In fact, Pineapple's been forced to divert most of his forces here towards the center. He is in fact going for the Panther, but still hasn't picked a commander. Keine Kommandant. The Oberleutnant Ananas. Which is pineapple in German. In fact, it's pineapple in most other languages except English. Fun fact about fruit and names. Ground northern part of the Kettenwerfer. Sturmpionier ran Gnies hier, Tiefenfahrt with the damaged engine. Also was the Strafbad. Armor camping with the guardsmen up north here. A Kettenwerfer position on the fuel point. We can see now pilots being forced to like scatter his attention much more across the map here. I think definitely highlights there might be tactically a few issues there with Flappy. Finally got a commander. It is Elite Armour. Of course, again, you should have gone for it sooner for, say, you know, an armoured car here. Oh, all of a sudden wiped there again. We can sort of see the issue now for pilots like Oak sending his attention too much here. Flappy, I think, needs to, like, you know, perhaps carry his weight a bit better here. And again, he plays too defensively. And I'm still wondering why he went for joint ops. Anyways, issued 5 to back up here. Duffmann's Northern Assault. More ops on there for Pineapple. Panther getting the Panther Commander. Of course, a good addition there. Allows the Panther to make use of his range much better. Panther then getting the Guardsman. Second Oberson squad almost done there for Pineapple. And Deutschland. Strafbad on the right. There you go. Good shot there on the T-45 here from a Pack 43. The Panzerabwehrkanone 43. Panther going here for the T-45. Good shot there. Right for the frontal armor. Panther diving ahead here. Good shot on the T-45. Should be able to take out the T-45 here with a few good shots. That wasn't a good shot, that's for sure. That was not a good shot. Got these coming in here, and there we go with the arrival of the tank destroyer here. Pineapple aborts here and pulls back with his Panther rather than turning into another burning hulk of scrap on the battlefield. Do get the heat shields in the Panther. Panther moving in here, trying to take out some Soviet armor here. Good shot there. Panther moving in again. Air reconnaissance for Flappy definitely helping out there a bit. Northern fuel point needs to be claimed by the German army again. Good shot from the Panther on the issue 85. T-4 moving up there, engaging itself there. And there we go, goes down. Good kill here for Pineapple. And speaking of engines, the Panther engine, meanwhile, certainly also has issued these early models because they actually used aircraft engines for the Panthers to begin with. Probably also later on, but it just managed to fix out the kinks. But one of the issues was with the earliest Panther models was if the Panther would tip at a certain angle, the fuel will flow in the wrong direction and light the engine on fire. And we're talking like, you know, I think it's like 45 degrees or something. So like, I don't think there's like that massive of like, you know, room for error there. So, little fun fact about the Panther as well. And its engine. Not made of aluminium though, but certainly has its own share of kinks. Northern point being grabbed by the Grenadiers under Flappy's command. Note, this Pack 43 is actually an early model Pack 43, as later models were actually meant to have a cruciform mount like what you see on the Flak 36 or Flak 88. It's more commonly known. Whereas this early model uses the Leichte Feldhaubitz Aktiens mount because they didn't have the other ones ready. So, fun fact there. Air recons again from Flappy. Still no officer. A repair bunker, though, would be a very good addition for him and his teammates to help the Panther and, you know, his own arm being repaired faster. So, that could be a really smart idea there by Flappy. North, they're finally for the Northern fuel point happening. The guard going for the Panther fuel point there. Machine hold against advancing waves here of Duffmann's heroic socialist men. Guards from the tanks may have lost here from the Panther 4. Machine being hammered here with the Strafbad with an MG-34. Definitely not what you want to be in the receiving end of. And the machine, in fact, completely collapses. South here, the heavy fighting between Stocky and Pineapple continues to occur here. Field's been caught here. But again, we see there's sort of a lack of weight here behind Pineapple's attacks. Fulton scored wipe, quite a blow there. We got Basil going meow. Probably wanting some attention, but as typical, Basil has the timing of Steiner's Panzer Army. Up north here, T-34 from 6 flying back. Armenkavis to Strafbad, T-34 40, Panther 4 shoots away. Pack 44 shoots around, good shot on the T-34 from 6, straight for the frontal armor. south here. Focus his orbs and quality with the maximum routed. And there you go. Heavy field gun bombardment here from Stocky. And so it's got both field points to control again. Definitely needs to be a German offensive to clear up one of the field points here. And they also, I think, need to like deliver some slightly more intense blows on the Soviets. Like, need to inflict some casualties here. Also, speaking of field guns in the Pak 43, there actually was a field gun version of the Pak 43. I mean, there's a Pak 43 that could also double as artillery. And we do get a... Oh, I thought it was the Fort Supply Station. It wasn't. Bit disappointed. We do have the Mechanized range headquarters there. Probably some repair parties on the way, though again, it would also, you know, be a smart idea for Flappy to build something of his own. Field guns there bombarding the Pak 43. Now the Panther for Flappy and Deutschland. He's starting though to run shot infantry again. 2 squads is what I typically call an insufficient number of infantry squads there. So definitely I think something there Flappy may want to work on. And there you go, cleared out the Pak 43 crew there with a strafing run. And Mark probably going to try and finish off with the field before it gets recruited here by Flappy. No, bunker goes down first. Flappy's definitely being whittled down. Again, putting more pressure on Pineapple's shoulders. Building collapsed. And that was another Oberzone squad there sort of being wiped out. Quite some extensive attrition here for Pineapple in that sense. Obviously, Flappy can't go for Obersoldaten, as the Wehrmacht incoming is too lacks any sort of serious late game infantry. Sadly, they do not have Stossturm or Knights crossovers in companies too. Another T-35 here for Stocky. Duffmann's Katyusha there unleashing a barrage of rocket strikes here against Flappy's Pak 3 position. And there you go, moving up with a settled challenge to make sure the Germans don't operate it again. Also being pushed back by the T-35 aircraft shot at the sky. So what will Pineapple do next, and for that matter, what will Flappy do next? Because it definitely feels like at this stage, Flappy is the one that's really lost some momentum here. Partly I feel like he's because he's been trying to play, I think, much too defensively, which, as the Wehrmacht in the current meta game, trying to like play defensively against the Soviets is typically not what I call an advisable idea. Like, unless you're like really, really far ahead somehow, don't want to, like, you know, try and give the Soviets like ample time to go forward they'd want to in the late game. They can typically grind you out quite efficiently in that process, so I feel like Flappy here might have committed to a bit of a strategic error here versus Duffmann. Panther shoots, misses though, which of course has an extension then push more pressure on Pineapple. Pushing forwards here with the Panther. Ooh, Riggs exposed to the field gun. Less great for him. And there he does get the T-45 this. Obviously not all bad for Pineapple. Meanwhile, up north here, Flappy is at most tying down here Duffmann a bit, ensuring that Duffmann cannot reinforce his teammate, which is better than nothing. But even then, could appear to be increasingly questionable unless Flappy actually starts to make some advances here into the north sector again. Holding forward to the both field guns, backed up by a few engineers there. Panther need repairs. Light infantry gun there, veteran T2. Hasn't done too much there for him. At least he went for some artillery soldiers, now going for the Stuckhouse Fuss. Another Pak 40 for Flappy. Still not more infantry though. You know, we got 4 squads here for Duffmann and only 3 for Stocky, but that's still more than Flappy's too. And there you go, Katyusha about here around the Schwerpanzer quarters. Obviously a focal point there from Soviet aggression and artillery. People are being shot at there. You see the Duffmann is slowly beginning to divert forces there towards Stocky sectors. Of course, Flappy's also moving in there to assist. Panther gaining 82, Schützen added. Schwerer Panzer quarters kaputt. So that's definitely a blow there to Pineapple, which locks him into basically like, you know, either have to go for Pumas or try for King Tiger or rebuild the Schwerer Panzer quarters. Neither of which are particularly efficient options, but that's also the kind of thing with the Oberkommando West. If you do lose that one, your options are typically very limited in terms of like efficient decisions. Panther there was the T-34 from 6. Good hit from the Ishifar on it. It does also mean that the Obersoldaten tap has been closed off, which could actually be an incentive to go for another Schwerpanzer quarters, so they can just get more Obersoldaten because they would likely need more of them. Flappy still hasn't focused on bothered with an officer. Still think that'd be a good idea here. 5-man squad now with a bit of smoke could be very helpful here for Flappy. Also on send suffering the wrath of Stocky and Duffmann at the same time. South side very closed off. There we go. Stuckasaurus out here for Pineapple the Fruit Dude. Panther up the advancing Strafbat. Got the guns pumped to the building here. They, of course, need to be mindful of any satchels being thrown in through the windows or the doors. Or the mill. Slot there. Strafing around here from Duffmann again. HQ5 T4 takes hits from the Packs and the Panzers. No, that strafing run didn't quite work out. The Pims was pushed back. He did not try and satchel the building. Garson as the Grenadiers pushed back here by the Panther. There go, almost got a wipe there. Close call. And a Kachusa Barrage against the Packs. Duffmann definitely wishes to silence those Pack 40s. Flappy's finally made a successful offensive into the north side again, reclaiming what was lost there to Duffmann earlier. And we got here Stocky with another T-foot fire in the south, though. Pineapple was once more advancing against Stocky's positions, hoping to come in with faith in Deutschland. And Flappy's lost the Grenadier squad that replaces it. Which would then put him back to 2 Grenadiers. Still should consider an officer here, or maybe some Panzer Grenadier. They could also soon go for another Panther 4, which has merit, and we got 2 marked vehicles here active. I'm not entirely sure. Wait, are they targeting the same tank? I think they are. Wow. Kind of managed to like target the same tank at the same time. You just know when high up they just question it because they don't want to get into trouble. It's just 2 aircraft pilots following the same tank. Panther there falling back here as Stocky quickly moves in, but yeah, looking a bit rough there for Pineapple. He may want to try and switch angle of attack here. In that regard, he's definitely made himself a bit too obvious how to counter him for the Soviets. In the north here, Duffmann again going for that northern hook around here, Flappy's lines, because Flappy continues to focus on this part and for some reason keeps pretending this isn't a problem. Which is a bit interesting, sort of considering that's how many times Duffmann's attacked there. It's like, you know, the Allies and the Ardennes in World War II is like, you know, first they did actually attack, and then like the Americans afterwards like figured, well, they're not going to attack here again, and then they do. Except it's Flappy with Duffmann, and like, you know, he's attacked it several times and he still keeps pretending he's not going to do it again. To no value, he's promised me personally he won't attack it again. He has? Well, I'd like to imagine he has, because I like to imagine he's an honorable guy. Is he? Maybe? I don't know. Got the ISU 150 for Duffmann. Panther slowly approaching Veteran 3. Orbs on full charging head-on again. These head-on attacks for Pineapple I feel like is at this point really hitting a bit of a brick wall, or in this case an iron curtain. Stuckers was barrage off here. Doing some damage, but crucially not enough to really like dismantle his Stocky's front line. Quite the opposite. T-foot filming forwards here. Looks like to hit some exposed flank. Could even like go for the Stuckasaurus here. In the southeast though, we got Flappy here with an armored fist, but decides to attack all of his tanks for the same narrow gap without sweeping it for mines first is not the ideal application of armored might be. Tactically, that was definitely a bit of a blunder there by Flappy. I mean, he's got 2 Pioneer squads, but not a single mine sweep against Soviet players who like to play down mines. Definitely a bit of a bad read on the situation there by Flappy. Definitely a bit of a bad read. There we go. Hack wiped here by the ISU 152, the Beast Killer, as was known by the Soviets. Panther 4, they're down to half health. Panther 4's being routed here. Situation with Flappy just went, well, further south than it already has. Pineapple deploying some smoke here. Again, another head-on assault. This time, though, Stocky's lines are pretty abandoned, so he might be able to like make a decent push, but the question will be to hold it. Of course, meanwhile, is he going to end up finding his attention diverted here to Flappy sector, as Stocky and Duffmann, primarily Duffmann, are punching right through it as if though it's like an empty bag, which it technically is because Flappy's all the way back in his base currently. So, rather bad situation with the Germans. Panther flanks in. Heat shield, though, goes off the mark here. Kevin bounces off the ISU's frontal armor here. Panther gets a shot through there with its heat shell, doing some damage to the ISU. The ISU, though, gets a shot back on the Panther, doing some fair amount of damage there. And now we got anti-tank grenades on the Panther, damaging the engine here, leaving Pineapple's Panzerkampfwagen 5 in a bit of a top spot. There's the countries there in the south here. Points being seized there. They got the victory point, but can they hold it? Because Pineapple's half his force are busy up north. T-34 rammed an armoured car? That seems, well, not worth it. Never mind, you figure how the T-34 would suffer like any damage ramming an armoured car. Might as well like be like, you know, suffered like, you know, complete immobilization from ramming a, you know, pile of cardboard boxes. That's like, you know, less to do with the target being tough and more with the driver being incompetent. Which, to be fair, in particular at the start of the war, the Soviets actually didn't put a lot of stock into training their tank drivers. There are actually a lot of mistakes and tanks lost because of drivers that weren't good. So, technically, that could happen. Anyways, Panther was the T-35 with another one wave of a Stocky. Panther near the ace load, popping heat shells again. Good shot there up north here. Flappy flapping about here a bit aimlessly for now. 103 versus 221. Now the aircraft knocked out of the sky. That won't be flapping about anymore. Yeah. Strafbart advancing again here. Light machine guns galore. Up north here. Duffmann is pushed back there away from the northern field point. In the center there, more rocket strikes going off. Your line for gun there being bombarded and returned by the Soviet field guns under Stocky's Stalinist command. ISU and the issue are falling back. Obviously follows the conscripts, ripping them apart there quite efficiently. Panther moving ahead here. And there you go, heavy damage on the Panther, almost lost it there. We got a grenade off the knees. Smoke being deployed now to try and, in a sense, suppress the field gun. And then followed with rocket strike, which ends up doing nothing there. Nice attempt though. Stocky, of course, could do with a bit more infantry, but they're technically winning so hard that, you know, it's probably not necessary at this stage. Like, I think at this stage, the Germans have very likely lost. Odds are not looking great here for the 3rd Panzer Division here. Another Pack 40 there for Flappy. Smoke being deployed in the south. More Fulton there for Pineapple. Flappy meanwhile continue to up with just 2 Grenadier squads. Got the pinwing forwards here, Panther to flank them. Will it be enough here to bail Flappy's ass out of it? I mean, they got 23 points left. Hack wiped out there by the ISU. Panther for the gaining 82 shots and added a small, tiny win there for the German army. Panther wing forwards. Still attacking these against the field guns. Kevin sending up here. 5 points left. Trying to grab some points here. In fact, they're grabbing all 3 at the same time, but I don't think they'll be able to do neutral in time. And there we go. Got the Panther, but the T-35, and the Panther survived, but the game is over. The Germans lost. A lot of brutal fighting here at the end. I feel like Flappy to an extent, not a massive extent, but he felt like slightly more heavily weighted here towards it. Kind of slightly, you know, sold the Germans off a bit poorly again, partly kept leaving the flank exposed, but also I think, you know, just played too defensively against the Soviets. And joint operations just really was an odd pick. I think encirclement would have been a much stronger choice than Spearhead. Joint operations just really felt like an off pick here, honestly. Pineapple could have gone for Commander soon. He also could have been a bit more aggressive on the flanks himself, but he definitely ended up having to carry more at times. We think, you know, definitely made it hard to, like, you know, make better progress. So, interesting fight in some regards. Definitely some rarer commanders here, but certainly also some mistakes in the Germans that I think helped cost them the game. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. You learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment on it. Tell friends, tell family, but don't your enemies. This is Imperial Link, and cheers, and see you all tomorrow for another episode. Bye.